Oh!
I'm Lucky Dave.
I'm Ned Niederlander.
I'm Dusty Bottoms. So together we're
The Three Amigos.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you may be in this wonderful world of ours. Welcome to the Thursday Pre TWIPT Three Amigos Show. Laptop Pound here, ready to get this party started on this Thursday. Good to see a lot of you guys in the chat. Glad to have you here. And again, our good friend EVC on vacation. He will be back in just under a week. I believe he's back next Tuesday or Wednesday. So stay tuned for more theme team content coming from EVC as we wind down the cycle. So I hope he's enjoying his vacation, picking up some new hats and having a few beverages of choice wherever he may be. All right, Fanatics here and Wildcat Bandit and Sean Saul and Fussmucker and Lead OOTP amongst the others. Well, again, a huge shout out to the affiliates that have stepped in over the last couple of weeks. Last week we had Ezra Denny, who was the third amigo that popped in to get a little bit surprised with a community card, the Leon Wagner that we released while he was here. And today we have another special Three Amigo. You've seen him with his Purple People Beater Eaters franchise, love of Canadian players and Rockies and everything. We welcome back the master of the uniform with OOTP. Welcome back to the show he's been on a few times before. tehSuigi, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. I'm filling in for my internet uncle while he's away on vacation.
Yeah, there you go.
I am so excited for tomorrow because it's a pop-up draft that I helped design and put together. And you just saw the news same time I did about what's coming next month. That's got me already thinking about theme teams just like EVC would. So I'm happy to fill the second chair here.
All right. Yes. I'm surprised he didn't invite you along. Like I thought family invites family along on vacation.
I don't have the budget for that right now. Unfortunately, I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere. The furthest south I've gone is, can't remember on a map. It's either Kingston or Kingston, Jamaica or Grand Cayman. All
right. Well, a few things to go over before we get into the hype for the final set coming up on TWIPT, the final big set. There will be some other cards. I don't want to spoil the thunder from DishNet, but the news is already out, so we'll give you a little bit of a teaser. I'm sure Dish will talk about it more on the TWIPT show. But yes, it has been released that OOTP 25. Many of you have seen it. Will be out on March the 15th, and it is ready for pre-order on the OOTPdevelopments.com site. So if you've been itching for some OOTP 25 news, I'm sure DishNet will have a lot more to go through on the TWIP stream today. And as tehSuigi said, he's excited for this new version to come out, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, just what they've revealed so far. I was not expecting the Baseball Hall of Fame collaboration. A tournament workbench is something that the community has been asking for yonks, and now we finally have it. So it means easier tournament builds for the Laptop 5L, for the Daily Bronze tournaments. This is going to help a lot of people get into tournaments more because it's clear that that's where a lot of the creative energies are going. So next year, I'm going to be doing more tournament stuff, and I hope you'll be able to join me.
Excellent. Yeah. So again, stay tuned for the TWIP show, and more news will be coming out with different timings of different events that they're going to announce. So yeah, stay tuned for that after this show here. Well, tehSuigi, you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier about the pop-up and the pop-up kind of in your affiliate name. So maybe for those that are about to draft, because I know both of us have kind of said, well, maybe wait until after today's set is released before you draft. So maybe remind people a little bit about the tehSuigi Flying Purple Baseball Beaters.
It is a
pop-up
mouthful, I know. So this draft is inspired by my Rockies restart save that I play on normally on Wednesdays. This week it's going to be tomorrow to line up with a pop-up draft. So the core 4 cards you're getting are all 4 components from my 1998 World Series championship team. Ken Griffey Jr., R.A. Dickey, Greg McMichael, and Carlos Guillen. I almost stuck y'all with Marcus Thames because we won the World Series again in 2006 last week. So be glad for that. 1998 run environment to match when we won the World Series at Coors Field. So the baseball's going to be flying. Only cards from the Rockies' existence. So 92 through to 2023. So you will see elites. You will see future legends. You'll also see live cards in your draft. And because of the round structure, we're pulling 1 card from perfect, gold, diamond, and silver each. You'll notice those rounds are slightly diminished in terms of what cards you'll see. I know Guillen is not a great shortstop, so considering you're only going to see 4 other shortstops in your draft, prioritize defense there. I think I was able to get a pretty good backup option. Then in the outfield, Ken Griffey Jr., you notice that's the limited edition card and not the tournament edition card. That's because in my save, Griffey played right field. So I wanted a card that could play right field.
All right. Just doing some things here behind the scenes. So that starts tomorrow, and your stream, when are you streaming tomorrow?
I'll
What are
be
you planning
streaming
on
at 1
covering?
p.m. Eastern, which will be coincident with the first round of this best of 7 tournament, 256 teams. So this is going to be running a while. We'll check in on it as we go with my franchise mode, because now that we've got the offseason, Griffey popped his player option or opted out of his player option. He's a free agent. But then again, we also have Tag Bozede, Marcus Thames, and Grady Sizemore in our outfield. I think we're okay there. So it's really going to be a question of how do we keep on top in a 2007 season, considering our championship window is open right now.
Cool. All right. Well, today is all about legends in baseball, legends in cards, legends in a new game, a new version of the game coming out. And also we have some legends facing off on Saturday, because these are the top 64 players in the traditional tournaments, in the perfect drafts. They'll be facing off on February 17th. Again, Sporer will be streaming the PTMS. Maybe some others will be streaming it as well. I'm not in it. I didn't make the top 64. Just missed out on the perfect draft one. tehSuigi, I don't think you were part of it as well.
I made 1 PTCS all year, and I was a 1 and out. So no, I am not involved. I'm still going to be streaming on Saturday with the Saturday Seafarers in the JPBO, but that's probably going to raid into the PTMS coverage.
All right. And of course, we do have legends in that prize pool. We've got the Babe Ruth for 3rd and 4th place. We have the Ty Cobb for the winner. And pitching wise, we've got Greg Maddux, all part of legends. So let's delve into that, because today's set, for those of you that may not have heard, today's set is all about the legends of the game. And when we hear that word legends, tehSuigi, we gotta think about, not only baseball players, but content creators, right? There are certain content creators that are legends in the game. Oh, look. Oh, Uber's here, guys. All right, grab the. How you doing, Sporer?
I'm well, guys. How are y'all doing? It's been a big morning over here.
Pitchers and catchers reported to today's Sporer. Life's good.
We beat the winter. We beat the winter.
We survived. It's spring from now until April, and then it's summer till October.
Exactly. I
Not in
I see it
Canada.
exactly that way. The weather isn't the part of it, right? Because I respect and I understand that people in the Midwest and the East still have tons of bad weather coming their way. But as far as baseball being back on the table, once pitchers and catchers report, it's baseball time. It's fine. I don't care. I can deal with the weather, even here in Texas, when it gets down in the 40s, 30s sometimes. I can deal with that once baseball's going again.
Okay. Legends of baseball now. Let's get into some legends of baseball. I like this little site I came along. I mean, everyone, when we talk about legends, tehSuigi, does that only mean players from a certain time period? Or would you consider more modern day players, they can be legends as well? What to you makes a legend in baseball?
To me, a legend would be someone whom you cannot tell the story of the game without. Like, you can't tell the story of the color line without Cap Anson. You can't tell the story of diversity in the game without Roberto Clemente. You can't tell the story of pitching and fastballs without Walter Johnson, just to name a few.
How about you, Sporer? What does legend mean to you for baseball?
Yeah, I think a lot of that, what tehSuigi's saying makes sense. And I don't think it has to be a particular, in a particular era that's bygone. I think Mike Trout's already a legend, without a doubt, to me. And not every legend is equal, as tehSuigi was kind of getting to, because they're part of the story and of the game. Might not be as big, but if it's integral to the story of baseball, they can still be legendary. So I think he hits on a lot of the great points there. And I just want to add that, like, you don't have to have been from 3-4 decades or more ago. I think we have legends playing right now.
I agree. And legends are being made right now in baseball. So this site here, of course, they go through the names that, someone new to baseball, you're talking baseball, you're going to talk about Babe Ruth. I mean, there's no doubt everyone has him as part of the legends of baseball. And we saw with the PTMS card, we have that Babe Ruth coming out. And boy, that gives him his true legend ability. No pitching on this one, but, ultimately, I think the majority of people, when they think Babe Ruth, think hitting, right, tehSuigi, rather than pitching?
Yeah,
or do you see
no kidding. And I'm looking at the versus right-handed. I know there were some rumblings that certain ratings were capped at 125. Ruth seems to be at that cap in 3 of the 5.
Yeah. He's
if Power's capped at 250, double that, he's at that too. So I'm excited to see what this Babe Ruth card will do in perfect, in open tournaments. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this card. You still got the big avoid K there, and even that's pretty generous relative to where he is, but we know that that's always kind of a hindrance for him. And then the defense might stand out, but as I mentioned in the PTMS stream, he was the best defender by total zone. You can have your quibbles with the validity of total zone, but it's what we've got. And he was the top outfielder that year. So this is not fiction on Babe Ruth being a great defender. He was an elite defender that year, at least according to the metrics that we've got. So I'm hoping that power can kind of, and all the other great stuff there, the eye, the gap, the BABIP and avoid K, and all that can suppress the avoid K a bit. He's still going to strike out, but I don't want him to be hitting like 210.
Yeah, for sure. And, you don't win the PTMS. He finished in the semifinals, and boy, what a consolation prize for finishing in the semifinals. I'm going to go through 9 others that this website lists as the best or the biggest legends of baseball. And when I'm done, I'm going to ask you guys who's missing, and maybe who is, other than Ruth, most deserving or definitely deserves to be amongst the top 10 legends. So we got Babe. Of course, we've got Mr. Joe DiMaggio, another Yankee here. Great cover from Time Magazine there. Of course, his relationship with Marilyn Monroe kind of put him in the limelight as well. Richie Ashburn, I thought, was an interesting one, that they have one of the biggest legends of baseball. We've got... Yeah. Interesting. Of course, this guy here, Ernie Banks from the Chicago Cubs. We had a card of him, a Topps card, come out earlier in the year.
And his joy of playing the game, Mr. Let's
Yes.
Play 2. I think that
Yes.
definitely qualifies.
Yes. Christy Mathewson. Christy Mathewson, one of the, if not the best dead ball era pitcher. Again, what a great pitcher. Complete games. Just fantastic on the mound. So maybe we see a high-end Christy Mathewson card today. Maybe. Also, of course, Gil Hodges, and Sporer put out a limited edition Gil Hodges card. So we have seen that card come out. He is considered one of the legends. This guy here, well, I don't think we'll see another card from him, but he has been honored in the game most of the cycle.
Jackie Robinson did get a PTCS reward. I wouldn't put anything out of Sporer.
Okay, we'll see.
I'll spoil it. He does not. The only reason is the difficulty with Clemente is nothing's really different about his career. He was almost too consistent. He's kind of the same guy all the time, that similar shape, whereas Jackie has some different things. And of course, with the Negro League card, we put him at shortstop there. So there's a little bit more versatility with Jackie just in general versus Clemente and Garrick, our three big pillars of those alumni sets. The other two are really difficult to make different cards with, whereas Jackie adds all that positional flexibility, which helps.
Right. Makes sense.
Good point. Rogers Hornsby, again, I consider Rogers Hornsby a legend. Here we see the older Rogers Hornsby at 424 batting average in 1924, lifetime average of 358. Again, one of the all-time greats. Willie Mays. I mean, again, you're talking to baseball to someone new, and you bring up Willie Mays. Of course, offense, defense, one of the greats. And
Robinson,
Jackie Robinson, mentioned earlier. A lot of versatility. You can make a lot of different cards, different shapes with Jackie Robinson, different abilities. And then finally, we have Duke Schneider, who came out early in the cycle. He was kind of that logjam, that stopper card, trying to get that Jackie Robinson mission complete. Well, they consider him one of the legends. So those are the top 10 from this website here. Sporer, who might be missing? Give us a couple other names, current or from.
I mentioned Trout. I think Trout is a current legend without a doubt. Pujols Jr., but Ted Williams, for sure should be here. Of course, if it's some sour writer that wrote this, because he was a surly
lot of New
dude,
York,
and probably he might be a dick. He probably was. I don't care really, but you can't just get in your fifis about it and pretend he doesn't exist and not include him on a list like this. I mean, you're going to put, I don't want to besmirch anyone, but you're going to put Gil Hodges and Richie Ashburn on this list and not put Ted. That's kind of ridiculous. I would agree with Cage Wisdom on Mantle and Cy as well. Lee also mentioned Mantle. Hannes Wagner, Christic is saying those are great names as well. So I agree with you all there. And I would even throw in somebody like Sandy Koufax. Obviously, he kind of represents, a comet career, a short but amazing career. Obviously, made the Hall of Fame still. I would put him on a list like that for sure. One of the greatest lefties ever.
How about you, tehSuigi?
I mentioned Walter Johnson as a name that belongs on that list because of his stature, because of his performance, and how he revolutionized the art of pitching. Cy Young, Cage Wisdom mentioned, yep, definitely. Pete Rose, I think, is a name that also belongs on there, both now for, given how much MLB has gone in with gambling, maybe his sin is diminished somewhat, but also the hit king of Major League Baseball.
Not diminished, because players still, I'm sorry, you're not the first one to say this. I'm not like attacking you, tehSuigi. Players and managers still cannot bet on the game. In fact, we've seen multiple football players get punished for that. Calvin Ridley, when he was out for the year, and, Jameson Williams both got suspended. I understand a tinge of hypocrisy with it, but it was never like that we are fully anti-gambling in every capacity ever. It's been in the dark for a long time. There used to be a few announcers in football that would kind of hint at it, Brent Musburger, Al Michaels. And I understand, we can have our own talk about how all these leagues are in bed with them. That changes nothing with Rose. He was betting on his team as the manager. And even if he was betting
GG Sundown
for
and
them,
Zuckus make that point. Yeah.
yeah, and even if he was betting for them, he was still like, going to be hardcore managing the games where he has 100 G's on it versus, the rest of the week's games. So no, it's nothing about that. And if he wasn't such a stupid loser ass creep, he could have apologized. He probably would have been forgiven, and he'd probably already be in the hall. But he's a pig. He's a loser. So I couldn't care less about Pete Rose.
Okay, I still think you can't tell baseball story without
that part's
him.
fine.
Same with Shoeless Joe.
That part's fine. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
I was disagreeing with the notion that because DraftKings sponsors MLB, that his sins are lessened. That's all. I agree with you. He is a legend of the game. He should be involved, and you should tell the ugly with the good. Like, he was an amazing player. I do not deny that, but just include everything else with it. Same with Bonds, right? We didn't say Bonds yet. Include it. Include all of it, right? You're telling the story. Like, why pretend certain things don't exist? So anyway, off my soapbox there.
There's one other name I wanted to bring up, Josh Gibson, because the stories untold matter just as much.
Agreed.
Yeah. A lot of those NEL players, they didn't get the true limelight that maybe they deserved, and that's starting to come into the spotlight more and more over the years. But yeah, Josh Gibson,
MLB now recognizing them as major leagues. Perfect Team has been fantastic in recognizing Negro League talent and making sure that those names never get lost to the sands of time.
And I'm glad MLB The Show's on board now too, kind of get that younger fan base involved with them too, because obviously the two games have different age groups. There's overlap, Venn diagram for sure, but our game skews a little bit older. MLB The Show skews younger, and younger folks need to know how great those players were. They could have hung in the majors. They would have been the legends of baseball just as well as they were in the Negro League. So I totally agree. Am I calling y'all old? Yeah, I'm calling all of us old because we are. It's a simple fact.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Out of the Park, this beard would not have gray streaks in it. Of course. Okay, one other name, but I know he's never going to show up in the game, Sadaharu O, but that's just me.
I would love it.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, Ty Cobb, we mentioned him kind of briefly before as a legend in baseball. Just the name itself, Ty Cobb. Anyone that knows anything about baseball knows Ty Cobb. And again, we see his first place card here. Lots of blue, going to play really well. And good luck again to those in the PTMS. Well, we're going to take our break here. And after the break, we've got some more community cards. tehSuigi, you are fortunate to have a player that is a big part of the lower level leisure lounge in your catcher. So we're gonna put some smiles on some faces after the break here, guys. So we'll be back in 2 minutes time. right, we are back here for the last segment here again, raiding over to DishNet in about 15 minutes time and talking about the legends of the game, because today's theme for TWIPT, the final major TWIPT set release for Out of the Park Baseball 24, coming up in mere moments time. And again, if you missed it, go check out the Discord, go check out the forums, go to the website, find out all the information about the new release. Sporer must be pumped. You must be excited. You must have the adrenaline going now that the news is finally out.
Excited. Oh, was I muted there? Did I go full laptop on there?
You're good.
Anyway, yeah, very excited about this. Obviously, we've been keeping this under our hats a little bit. Just cannot wait for y'all to see what's going on. Obviously, some of the features have already been discussed in this little drop today, and then we're gonna have another road to release with a bunch of great stuff. Truly cannot wait to get into 25. Obviously, 24 is not over yet. We got TWIPT. I'll still have 2 treasure troves. We'll be playing up until 25 comes out, but I'm so excited for the new game, y'all.
Yes, can't wait. All right, so before we get into the early bird cards, and folks, we don't have just one. Oh, no, not on this final Three Amigos show for OOTP 24. We don't just have 2 or 3. We got 5 community early bird requests coming out to end off the Three Amigos season here. And boy, we got some good cards coming up. Before we get to those, tehSuigi, can't ask Sporer this because he knows the answer. tehSuigi, give us a guess. Give us a tehSuigi lock of who might be a legend we see in today's set, because neither of us know. Who do you think?
Cy Young. We saw an early tournament edition. Time for a new one. Josh Gibson. The Negro League missions were a long time ago. I think he could get a good packable for some late cycle slugging. We haven't seen a peak Nolan Ryan. We got a 99 from the 81 exclusive set, but not a peak card. Pete Rose. No perfect card for him yet.
Okay.
And for the final pick, Bobby Thompson. Shot heard around the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. I'm hoping we get a Bobby Thompson because the Bob Cajun Bobs desperately need another center fielder.
All right. I've got 4, and one, I had 3, but then, Sporer mentioned Trout a few times. So I'm going to go Mike Trout might see a card. Aaron Judge, I don't think we saw a PT Elite Aaron Judge card, so maybe saving it for this one here. And then former players, I'm thinking, a high-end Cal Ripken Jr. We've seen some Cal Ripken Jr. cards, but I don't think we've seen the true elite Cal Ripken Jr. And finally, Wade Boggs. I think maybe we see a banger Wade Boggs. Yes, there has been a Wade Boggs for PTCS, but those are my 4, 2 current day and then 2 former players. So we're trying to read like a poker match Sporer's face there.
Yeah, I saw a few people
like an idiot the whole time.
I saw a few people mentioning Judge because we haven't seen a PT Elite Judge yet, and a lot of people were calling for that.
Yeah. So we'll find out. We'll find out in just over half hour's time. All right, let's get to some of the community requested cards here. We're going to start with a couple iron. And the first one is one that I recommended, but one that also I know there's a lot of Canadian players out there, a lot of Canadian baseball fans like tehSuigi. And the Expos have been given a lot of love by Sporer in this cycle. But there's one guy that was on the first Expo team that maybe a lot of you haven't heard of before. And talk a little bit, Sporer, about Coco LeBoy.
First off, what an amazing name, Coco LeBoy. For those Montreal Expos back in 1969. Came out of the gates firing. Far and away his best campaign here. A really solid season that we ended up, turning into a nice solid mid or actually upper iron here at 56. Kind of does everything well. Eyes a little bit light, but everything else just kind of solid, So I think he can certainly find his spot there versus righties and lefties. definitely got both sides there. It was requested by somebody who just begged me. I mean, he was calling me day and night, begging me, please, 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 I need this in there. And I was like, okay, geez, how'd you get my phone number? But it's no, Laptop Hound requested this one, and of course I got to do something for the man, the myth, the legend, Laptop Hound. But it was an awesome debut season. The tough part is, he was 28 by then, so we really didn't see much else. But at least he got his chance. He took it, and he was great in that year.
I was wondering why my calls aren't getting through in the last few days. Oh, geez. I was hitting 1 for speed down. It just wasn't working
Hurry
anymore. Up. Yeah, Coco LaBoy. I mean, this is going to play in iron. I play iron, and I play those lower levels. And again, any love for the Expos is just puts a smile on my face, as many other players out there. GT Sundown loves the Nationals, loves the Expos, runs the Expos in EMLB. So this was, although I requested it, I looked up his stats, and like you said, Sporer, he had an amazing season back in 1969, and we've never seen recognition really from this guy before. So little love to Coco LaBoy. Next up, we've got another silver card. This one requested by D Dempsey 9411. And if you know anything about D Dempsey, he loves his Texas Rangers, just like Hero Driver and many others out there, world champion Rangers. And we've got a 59 from the 2013 season. Starting pitcher, Derek Holland. Take it away.
The lefty. Actually, a little bit of internet friends with Derek Holland. He streams on Twitch. We've hung out a couple different times there, playing some MLB The Show and talking with him. Real fun guy. He had a lot of personality when he played, always doing his Harry Carey impersonations and everything. But a really solid pitcher, too. You see the one flaw there is the BABIP at 56, but everything else really checks out. But that's why he's in the iron tier. So I think he can actually live in your rotation there as a lefty, despite that BABIP, because everything else is strong enough. This was a guy that you kind of watched him progress through the years, thinking like he could really hit that next level. He did in 2013. It was a great year. The only thing that really, keeps it down at an iron in our world is because of the BABIP. But it was an excellent year. 3.42 ERA, 129 WHIP in 213 innings. Unfortunately, dealt with injuries the following 2 years after that, and then kind of got into the journeyman phase a little bit, bit as a reliever, bit as a starter, but still churned out 13 years, 1,466 innings of work, $45 million. That's not too bad for a nice lefty there. I really like Derek Holland. Like I said, real nice guy. Don't have a crossword to say about him. And, I think, again, we're always looking for more lefties in pretty much every tier, really, because lefties are rare. I think there's another iron lefty that could get some play, particularly if you can overcome the BABIP, which I think the homer and the control and stuff gives him a chance to.
tehSuigi, any thoughts about Derek Holland? I mean, this is probably, you watched a lot of baseball back then. It's from your era. Any memories about Holland?
More from the 2010, 2011 Rangers postseason runs, not really from the 2013 season. That said, I could probably use him on a bronze team, bronze cap in particular. That would definitely play up in a rotation. I wouldn't limit him just to iron as a 59. Consider him over some of your other pitchers, especially at those lower levels. I think there may be an opportunity to fool a lot of folks by going with Lee, Holland, and Dallas Braden as like a triple lefty lineup to swerve a bit and deal with all those lefty batters down in the lower levels.
All right, let's move back up to Canada for our next community request. This card was requested by Leo Remus. I don't know if Leo's in the chat today, but a fellow Canadian from Ontario, I believe, and tehSuigi is sporting Leo and tehSuigi's favorite Canadian team, I believe, the Toronto Blue Jays. So this card from 1998. So when you think Toronto back in 1998 and you think outfield and you think speed, who comes to mind, tehSuigi?
Got to be Shannon Stewart.
Nailed it.
Nailed
wow.
it. Yes.
Well done.
Introducing the 1998 63 overall. Look at that speed. Crank those sliders up, Sporer, for Shannon Stewart.
Absolutely. And yeah, tehSuigi nailed it there. Very impressive. The speed is the draw here for sure. Not an empty bat. In fact, going to bring a really nice eye against lefties, a capable one against righties with some solid BABIP and a void case. So going to be collecting those base hits, and we'll take singles because he's going to steal second anyway and be right there as like a makeshift double. And then he can turn the doubles he does get into triples. We talk a lot about a lot of people at least in the Twitch community, are not avid base stealers with their teams. A lot of times we're tuning that down. We don't want to give outs on the base paths. The extreme guys like this, at least for me, I will turn it up. I want to get those bases. I want those singles to turn into doubles. I want him to be able to use that 81 bunt for hit to essentially get himself on second after the steal. Solid enough defense for left field. I'm probably not putting him in center at a 79 range and that very rag arm, but I'll hide him out there in left for sure. I really like him against lefties because that eye with the speed. But again, even if I have to run him both ways, maybe in an L5, I'm not losing my head over that. Shannon Stewart was somebody I really liked. The Jays had Stewart, Alex Rios, Vernon Wells. I was a big fan of all three of them, and they all had, pretty solid careers. I know Vernon Wells ended up becoming a bit maligned because he had a bad contract there. Was it with the Angels that contract went sour with?
It was signed with the Blue Jays, and then it was offloaded to the Angels. Yeah,
that's right. So I think he's probably the maligned one of the group, but I think all three had really solid careers, and I definitely like them.
Rios was maligned too. I think you're also forgetting Sean Green, who was in that outfield along
Green
with
was a god.
At that time.
He was a cut above all three of those guys. That's a good call. And I forget who was the first to move, but they had to start moving them because they were piling up outfielders. And so I know Stewart, I think, went to Minnesota eventually. I know Rios was eventually on the White Sox. We talked about Wells to the Angels. And of course, Green went out to the Dodgers and continued his excellence. But yeah, he's a cut or two above those other three. I love Sean Green. What a great player he was.
And this can be a nice test card again for the 5L because of that speed and doubles, triples, crank it up a little bit, see what kind of happens. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy trying this card out. And in yesterday's final Sporer, we saw a couple cards that you released on Tuesday that had just fantastic tournaments. Escobar, I think you released on Tuesday, was one of them. And you drafted Gossage as a starter.
I wasn't sure if you were going to bring that up because I made the semifinals and he did so well. I was very, very impressed with him. That Gossage is definitely somebody I'm going to be drafting consistently. I didn't expect him to be my ace, but he was carrying us. I ran into a buzzsaw there. Forget the team name, but I think they ended up dominating in the finals as well. Yeah, it was it's so difficult, but it was nice to have another good run. I've had a decent week, although I have two teams, so it hasn't been both teams that have been doing well, but I love the 5L draft so much that I use both teams in there. But that Gossage was really nice, and the Escobar really solid as well.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you're basically just creating these cards to give you more toys to play with.
100%. Well, I mean, what else?
It's amazing how Sporer's been doing better in the last few weeks.
Why do you think there's so many Tigers out there?
All right, we've got two more to go through before we raid into Dish. Next one is a request, not so much from the community, but from someone that has been positive to represent the community and the affiliates, and you, Sporer, as well, a good friend of yours, and that is Nico. Nico, we all know Nico. He loves Mookie Wilson. He loves the New York Mets. So for Nico, we have from the 2016 Mets, relief pitcher, Addison Reed, 84 overall. Addison Reed, what do you got to say, Sporer?
Not a bad card here. Addison Reed hasn't been around for a while, at least according to Nico in his research. He actually sent me a few Mets, so you might see a few more Mets trickle out on a T4 or something. But we haven't had Addison Reed in the game, at least outside of live series, since 2021. And Addison Reed had a pretty nice career. It wasn't super long. It looks like I think it was only 8 seasons here, but he had some good years with the White Sox. He had this excellent year with the Mets, and all around, just a solid 458 inning career with a 3.53 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. Now you see with this card, it's that kind of standout flaw, and it's always the one that's going to worry us when it's BABIP, right, at 83. But everything else is really nice. He's 1 point away from triple 100s beyond that with the stuff, homer, and control. 99 stuff, 103 homer, and 102 control. Will it be enough to snuff out the BABIP? That's for you to decide on that. He is a low gold, so he can play down in that low gold tier, which there is a tournament for. Dominates righties at least a little bit more consistently, particularly with the BABIP, but then gets a big home run boost against lefties to maybe help him stifle the fact that it's a 78 BABIP against them. So there's a push-pull there. There's some pluses and minuses, but overall, I think he's somebody you could definitely put on your team. You could draft him in a standard perfect draft, maybe put him in your bullpen in a low gold tournament. Addison Reed, though, hasn't had a historical card in quite some time, so I figure let's go ahead and get him in there.
Nice. All right, we've got one more for you, and I see in the chat a lot of people are calling Tony Suck, and we need the Tony Suck. And trust me, all of us want a Tony Suck, but I think at this stage in the cycle, putting a Tony Suck card in now for 2 or 3 weeks of play, isn't it better to kind of maybe wait a little bit, for maybe a new version of the game possibly? So keep watching. We do have one more, and this one is for Pop Stongoria, a member of the community. Pop Stongoria participates in a lot of the bounties, views a lot of the affiliates channel. So Pop Stongoria is a big fan of the San Francisco Giants. He's got the bobbleheads, he's got the t-shirts, he's got the memorabilia. And so he requested a starting pitcher from 1993. And maybe a little bit before your time, tehSuigi, you nailed Shannon Stewart. You think of a 1993 dominant San Francisco Giant pitcher. Ezra's
I didn't even know
in
the
chat.
National League existed back when I was that young.
Ezra nailed it. Yeah, I think Ezra and Captain nailed it there. Okay, so yeah, I see you call him Billy Swift too, Ezra. I couldn't find anything. The game did that as well, but I changed it to Bill. I sent an old slide there to laptop. It's going to say Bill in the game. Did he go by Billy? I couldn't really find anything. I looked up his cards from 1993 to see if like Topps and Fleer and Don Russ and all that had Billy on there, but it didn't. Everything was Bill. But the game, when Matt created the card for me, the dev, it came in as Billy. So I thought that was really interesting, but I changed it. It's Bill. But anyway, that's not the point here. Bill Swift, obviously big platoon, 1993, really solid season for him. He decimated righties, kind of held his own against lefties en route to a really strong season. If you're looking at it by WAR, he was 14th overall. And if you start accounting for ties, he was near the top 10. In fact, he was tied at 4.5 WAR with John Burkett, Ben McDonald, and Kurt Schilling there. All four of them had 4.5 on the dot. So it's a really strong season for Bill Swift. Solid career overall. This was definitely the highlight of his career. I know we don't get too hung up on win-loss records, but he did go 21-8, and that's still a shiny, nice record. But he had the stats to back it up too. Obviously, the issue and the pushback against win-loss records when you use it to say whether a player's good or not. But it can indicate quality as long as the stats back it up. In 233 innings with a 2.82 ERA and a 107 whip for Swift really stand out. I think the most interesting thing about Swift actually relates to 2 seasons before that when he was a closer. He had 17 saves in 1991 with Seattle. Then he goes out to San Francisco and becomes a really strong starter for them for 3 years, 92, 93, and 94, this being the best of them. So he's a high gold here. You're going to have to be careful with some of those lefties, but righties are going to have a lot of trouble against him. And as Lowly Worm points out, this one's for the Swifties. We have to have some tie-in to Taylor Swift. It's obligated. We have to.
We're taking advantage of the momentum of Taylor Swift. And when's the Travis Kelce card come out?
I'm trying to figure out do we have anybody named Kelce in baseball history here?
There's got to be a first name Kelce. There's got to be.
I got a Bill Kelce or Billy Kelce here. Let's see. This guy, actually, he's got a little bit of a Tony Suck type career where he doesn't really have many numbers here. We'll have to figure it out. Maybe we just got to get some Travises in here. We can figure it out.
All right. So yeah, good timing. Good timing with the pop culture. So once again, your community requested cards from Montreal Expos, Coco LeBoy. From the Texas Rangers, we have Derek Holland. From your Toronto Blue Jays, we have Shannon Stewart. For Nico, the New York Mets, Addison Reed, and San Francisco Giants fans celebrate Billy Swift. All right, guys.
Cards are live, by the way, and Nico found a card from 1984 for the United States baseball team that said Billy Swift on it. So he was going by Billy or Bill, but you know, I put Bill on there, so you won't see Billy. It'll say Bill on the card that is live now. He's a man. He has to be Bill. You can't be Billy once you're 31 years old. No, I'm just kidding.
Can we call him William?
Yeah. William Swift.
Only his mom is allowed to call him that.
Yeah, and if she calls him that, he's in some trouble.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes. Okay, guys. Well, Dish will be starting up. If he's not up yet, he will be up soon. Thank you, tehSuigi, for coming on for EVC today. And again, these are not going to be the last of the community cards. Sporer has already said that he's doing a couple more Tuesday treasure troves, so you may see some of those cards that you requested. And as he mentioned a couple days ago, yesterday when we did the Valentine's cards, keep sending them names. Keep sending them names for they may appear this year, they may appear next year. You never know. Thank you so much, Sporer. What a wonderful job. Great addition to the Three Amigos broadcast. And just again, the smiles you put on the faces over the last few months with these community requested cards. Thank you so much from the community.
You're very welcome. I appreciate everyone being so engaged and really, you know, giving me some great names to work with. And then using these cards too, because they've been a lot of fun. Erie's asking if there's going to be an Amigos show next week. There is no TWIP, so it wouldn't be a pregame show. I won't speak for Lap as to whether or not he wants to do something, but maybe I'll have a little something, you know, like the Valentine's Day, which was just kind of a one-off. Here's 3 cards. It's going to be things like that, where it's like, oh, here's 7 cards that might not even have a theme. We just want to do a few things. So again, we're going to be trickling out content, 2 more treasure troves for sure. And then we'll kind of go from there with everything as we turn the calendar to March, because 25 is on the horizon, folks.
Well, again, if Sporer unblocks my number, then maybe we can work something out for a future episode.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys, for being on the show today. And community, get ready, because Dish is coming up very soon. Going to send you over there. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And don't forget the Hawk Report with Warbot. We are talking Tony Suck and the other cards released
for 2
today.
hours.
Yes, we'll see you soon. Okay, thanks, guys.
Take care, y'all.